What's up, everyone? Welcome to Pickle Reviews Random Shit He Finds in His Room. Today, I'm doing gaming mice. Now, I've been very fascinated with gaming mice since I started gaming on PC, and I've collected a few over the years. And so we're going to basically review them and also rank them on the tier list to kind of give a final score. Now, you're gonna see something truly amazing. I'm a real person. I know that is pretty shocking to many. You may have jumped out of your seat a little bit after hearing that one, but yes, I am a real living, breathing human being. So let's just go ahead and get started with some honorable mentions. So with the mice I've used over the years, obviously I haven't kept some of them and they've broken over time. So there's two that I do want to mention, that being the Reddragon M711 and a basic Amazon gaming mouse. So let's just start with the Amazon one. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't find much on this particular one because it's not really an actual brand. So pretty much if you go on Amazon and you look up gaming mouse and keyboard or something like that, you'll find a list of a bunch of different ones, and there'll be different companies, but you'll notice something: they all look the same. Well, that is because they are all the same. They're all made by the same people, just different rebranding. So there's not really much to go off of here. I don't know the battery life of mine. I do know that it has a DPI range up to 7200, which is not terrible. Me personally, I use a really low DPI, so I'm never too worried about these high ranges when it comes to them. So 7200 is not bad, but it's not great either. Now, I will say it's not the lowest one on this list. The weight of it, I don't know. Again, I don't know much information about this mouse, but they're pretty much all the same. I will say that the clicks are good. I do like the side buttons. The feet were bad. The size was bad. The weight was bad. It was pretty much all around bad, and it broke within like 8 months of using. So it's going into D tier because it really does not have much going for it. And the reason that I don't have an F tier on this list, by the way, is because I don't really believe that there is such thing as a terrible mouse. You can use pretty much any mouse for gaming. It's not exclusive to these high-end ones, and also this is the cheapest one on the list, so you're getting what you paid for, I guess. The other honorable mention is the Reddragon M711. Now, this one is a little bit better in a few ways, but also not quite as good in a few ways. Now, when I did research on this one, again, it's impossible to do research on these brands. Reddragon's a little bit more notable. Still, it's a highly cheap Amazon brand. But what I do know is that it's a wired gaming mouse, and its DPI range is actually less than the Amazon one, only going up to 5,000. Again, doesn't really affect me that much, but depends on who you are. And the weight, from what I'm seeing, is 204 grams. That is the heaviest mouse on this list, and I don't know how much I believe that. The problem is that I haven't used it in such a long time, but I don't remember it being that heavy. Yet 204 grams is really heavy for a mouse. The G502, which we're going to get into, which is a heavy gaming mouse, isn't even close to that number. So I don't know how much I believe that, but this one is a step up from the Amazon mouse. So I'm going to put it in C tier because I think that's where it belongs, but yet it did also break after like 1 to 2 years of using, so it didn't really last long either. Alright, so now we're going to get into the actual mice that we have. So I want to go in a very odd order. I don't want to go in order from the tier list, so we're just going to be starting off with the G Pro Superlight. So the G Pro Superlight is the one that I currently use. It is my favorite, so you already probably know where it's going to rank on the tier list. But I still want to go over a few specs of it and talk about it a little bit. So this is a lightweight gaming mouse weighing at 63 grams, which is close to the lightest on the list. Technically, it is the lightest on the list, but there is one that is heavier, but at the same time, it's lighter in a way. We'll get to that. But man, do I just love this mouse. So its DPI range isn't actually the best out of all the ones that we have, but it does have a DPI range of 25,600, so that's pretty good. A lot higher than 7,200, which was the last one that we did, so pretty good. A 70-hour battery life, which is pretty average for pro gaming mice. I mean, that's what we're mostly going to see today. And let's just talk about the build itself. It's got a high quality build. It's really well shaped. I love the feel of it. Let's just hear these clicks for a minute. I mean, those are clean clicks. They're not ultra quiet, but they're also not insanely loud. They're just nice, clean, even clicks. Scroll wheel is nice, a little bit lighter than some other ones that I have, but still pretty good. Now, the side buttons aren't perfect, and there's actually side buttons that I think are better, but you know, they're not too far in the mouse, they're not too far out, they're nice and I would say perfect amount, honestly, but they are a little bit far back. It's a little bit iffy when it comes to these. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the feet. These are perfect feet right here. I hate it when mice use smaller surface areas for their feet. I don't think that is the way to approach it. They'll put like one in the corner, or put 4 in the corners and then the circle in the middle and call it a day. I don't think that works. I think what they did here, covering more surface area, works so much better. And now that I'm thinking about that sentence I said earlier, this is going to be a weird video to make, talking about the feet of these. So anyways, yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about it. And it goes into S tier, most definitely. I mean, best mouse I've used so far and my all-time favorite. So when you think of Logitech, you're probably thinking, okay, very well-known brands, very high-end gaming equipment. But did you know that there's also another gaming company that is highly regarded as one of the best? That is Razer. And Razer made a mouse called the Viper Ultimate, considered to be one of the top used gaming mouse in competitive play. I don't get that vibe from it. I don't get a competitive mouse right here. It does have some pretty cool RGB, which I'll show you right now. I really love the Razer logo. I think it looks awesome. And I actually love the texture of this mouse, and I'll get into that more here in a second. The specs of it are, it weighs at 74 grams, so it's a little bit heavier than the Superlight. You know, it gives it a little heftiness to it. It's got a 70-hour battery life, like before, and the DPI range goes up to 20,000, so significantly less than the Superlight, but still very, very good and definitely usable. I completely forgot to mention something that will become apparent in these later mice. I think wireless is awesome. I think wireless is the way to go in modern day. It has improved so much that to the point where it's unnoticeable between wired and wireless mice. So I definitely would go with wireless, and that's one of the pluses about this mouse and the Pro Superlight. It has, again, the texture on this thing. It's got really nice grippy sides to it. The back has a nice texture to it. It's smooth, but also not slippery smooth. Now, I do have grips on this thing, but under this is a nice textured surface. So if you're a drag clicker, or I don't even know, it has a nice scroll wheel. I think this one actually surpasses the Superlight. Really nice scroll wheel. And but the problems come with these side buttons. Now these side buttons are quite literally dog shit. I mean, they are bad. They're way too pushed into the mouse. They're basically flat surfaced on the mouse. They're hard to press, and they're not even in a really good position to press them. Now the feet here is where it becomes a bigger issue. As I said before, I hate it when they cover the corners and the middle, but nothing else. Like, I don't believe that gives you a better slide. I think it makes it worse, and honestly, it's one of the biggest disappointments with a mouse like this, because not only does this one look cool, it has so much potential, and unfortunately I meant to put in C tier. That's really all I gotta say about the Viper Ultimate. Now, I think we should go into our first wired mouse that I technically have on me right now, and that is this guy. This guy is the Pulsefire Haste by HyperX, and it's pretty good in a lot of ways. So let's go over the pros with this one. You know, already a con. I'm sorry, I was gonna go over the pros, but I have to say something. I hate wired mice, dude. I used to do it, and I can't do it anymore. Anyways, some of the pros is it has a nice texture on the mouse buttons, kind of similar to the Viper Ultimate. The scroll wheel is pretty good, honestly, and the side buttons are amazing. I mean, this is how you do them. This is how they should be. They are a little bit easy to accidentally click together at the same time. It's got the breathable honeycomb right here. It pretty much prevents sweating, and let's actually hear the clicks of this thing. It has a bit sharper of clicks, you know, more like a regular computer mice would click, and you know, I'm not a big fan of that, but it doesn't really change the gameplay too much. Now I'm gonna flip over this thing, and we're just gonna hope that I survive. Holy crap. Now, man, okay. Yeah, those are really bad. Those are really bad. You definitely, if you're gonna buy this thing, you're gonna need to see if you can get these replaced. So there's 4 in the corners. There's not even one by the optic here, or whatever it's called, the sensor. I think this thing's supposed to be quick, but also very quick stopping. Okay, so let me go over the specs real quick. Technically the lightest mouse we have at 61 grams. Now, the reason I say that this one is skeptical on that is because it has a wire, and technically the wire weighs it down just a little bit, and it's got a DPI range of 16,000. That's pretty average among mice if you're not getting like a really expensive one. And that's a bonus of this thing. It's not very expensive. You can find these at Walmart, in fact. So they're pretty cheap and budgetable. I will say that a lot of its downsides bring it down. So unfortunately, it's going to go in C tier. I think the only issues with it are probably the feet, the fact that it's wired, and it's a little bit cheaper quality. But besides that, it's honestly not too bad. Let's move on to our final 2. Well, let's bring out another wired mouse, and this one most of you may know. It is the G502. This thing is really cool. Not only does it look cool, but it has a lot of cool features to it that we'll get to. Even though it's wired, it has a DPI range of 25,600, so that's similar to the G Pro Superlight, and it weighs 121 grams, which is what I thought would be the heaviest on the list. Apparently the Reddragon's heavier though, so we'll have to see about that, but I feel like this one is the heaviest. If you're wanting a jitter clicking mouse or something that you can have really quick response with, this is the way to go. These things click really quickly, and so this can be problematic in a few ways. If you're not careful, you can misclick. It has really strong grip on the side. Like, this isn't like grooves built into the plastic itself. This is literally grip tape. So it has quite a few features to it, in fact. So you can actually press this button right here and you can unlock the scroll wheel, meaning you can just do that. I don't know what this feature is exactly for. I know people enjoy it though. It's really fun to spin. The regular scroll wheel, not very good. A little bit too sensitive for my liking. Feels a little loose, and you can spin it, as you see, pretty easily. Side buttons. Actually really nice side buttons. I like these. And it's got 3 other buttons. One being the target button. This just lowers your DPI to a certain amount if you're trying to aim better. These 2 just change your DPI settings, so that's really all they do. When we look under this thing, it has some really like nice feet, surprisingly, but these ones don't really need them. Heavy mice don't really need them because they're not going to be sliding much anyways. I think one of the coolest features about this thing, and that all mice should start doing, adjustable weight. You can put weights in this thing that it comes with and make it weigh even more than it already does. And I think that is really, really cool. So really only the cons are the scroll wheel and the cord. Besides that, it grips nicely, it clicks nicely. It's a decently solid mouse for a wired one. I'll put in A tier. I've always been a big fan of Logitech as well, so it makes sense. So yeah, this is solid. If you're wanting a wired heavy mouse, go with this one. Well, you guys reached it to the end. The final mouse. What's it gonna be? Well, if you've been watching my channel since my Minecraft days, you definitely seen this guy before. The glorious Model O. Man, what an experience this thing was. This pretty much opened up my gateway into gaming mice. It has almost everything perfect about it. In fact, I would say it's even close to the Logitech G Pro Superlight. So let's turn these lights on real quick, because we got to see this thing in its full effect. I mean, look at that RGB. That is so nice. It's not too pushy. It's sleek. It has a 70-hour battery life, like again all of them. But it also has a special thing about it, being the highest DPI range out of all of them. This one goes up to 26,000 DPI, and it weighs at a solid 67 grams. So it's lighter than the Viper, heavier than the Superlight. So pretty solid all around. Now, it doesn't have as many features as some of the other ones. Now, with the Superlight, it doesn't even have a DPI button up here. Which is something I haven't mentioned yet, is that I think DPI buttons being at the top is a terrible idea. Because if you accidentally click this thing while going for the scroll wheel or something, it throws you off completely. But the pros of this thing are more in the side buttons. The side buttons are the best ones I have ever used. I mean, these things have saved me so much. I love these side buttons. They're pushed forward enough, they're out enough. The scroll wheel on this thing is perfect, pretty much. I mean, you couldn't go any better with that. Now, I know I keep flipping it over, and you're probably seeing the issue that I have. The feet. Now, this one isn't as bad as the Viper Ultimate or the Pulsefire. Although they kind of look similar, and this one doesn't have a center ring on it. These feet are actually a little bit better in my opinion. They're a little bit thicker and give it quite a bit of glide. Besides that, this thing is solid. I mean, you really can't go wrong with the glorious Model O. To anyone wanting to get their first gaming mouse, and this one is a little bit cheaper than some of the other ones on this list, I'd honestly recommend this one. It's one of the best ones for Minecraft. That's why I got it. It has double clicking, which it's against the rules in many games to double click. So you can disable that though. You can disable that. Yeah, this is up there with the Superlight. In fact, it's going in S tier, right below the Superlight. So, yeah. So yeah, that is my review on the gaming mice I have had so far through playing video games. I think I've had more mice than years I've been playing, shockingly enough. And yeah, they're all pretty solid. I mean, I would recommend any of these. I definitely recommend if you have the budget for it, since this is the most expensive one. I'd say if you're willing to invest, this one. If you're trying to budget a little bit more and you don't mind playing with wired, probably the Pulsefire. It's pretty cheap and honestly pretty good. If you're looking for a heavy mouse, obviously that one. And these ones are pretty similar in price. If I just had to choose between them, I would choose the Model O, in my personal opinion. The software with this one's a little bit better, but I would definitely recommend the Model O over this one. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about these. If you want to see more reviewing stuff, I got tons of stuff I could review in tier list. So yeah, see you guys.